Here is the last part of the video lecture on the economy. With the bureaucratization of the workforce, usually the following things are present. Now, we've talked about bureaucracy representing, I think we use the term red tape. We're talking about layers within an organization or layers within a system, where those layers or positions become more important than the people who fill them. With the bureaucratization of the workforce, we have a clear-cut division of labor where each worker is assigned specialized duties and tasks. We also have a hierarchy of authority where basically everybody has a boss. Your boss has a boss. His or her boss has a boss, etc., all the way up to the very, very top. Some more on the bureaucratization of the workforce. Organizational rules and regulations are in place for everyone to follow. Rationality, thinking with reason, demands that we set aside our personal feelings when performing tasks at work. The nature of work in our country is that way. We are expected to go into work to set our personal feelings, issues aside, and to perform our job as objectively and as efficiently as possible. And that sounds good, and it is in a lot of cases, but it can also create some problems if we can't deal with ourselves. It can be somewhat dehumanizing and depersonalizing to have to remove the humanity, or rather to have to remove our personal feelings and that and separate that from work. So that can create some problems. There's a sociologist by the name of Ritzer, George Ritzer, and he talks about the McDonaldization of society, and it really does kind of play in here to what we're talking about. This references our desire to be increasingly more and more efficient in society. We want things quickly, and we want it right now. I remember, I'm in my 40s. I remember being a young child. You would literally have to wait until the newspaper came around to get the news, or wait until the 6 o'clock news, or the 11 o'clock news came on to really know what was going on. You'd have to be patient. Now we have, again, these wonderful things called cell phones and laptops. I can go on in 5 seconds, type in a few phrases, and I can figure out what's going on with the weather. I can figure out what's going on in the world. We have hundreds, maybe even thousands in some cases, of channels on our televisions where we can access information. We want it quick, and we want it right now. And that's good. I mean, there's something to be said for being able to access information quickly and efficiently. But at the same time, it can produce some problems as well. It kind of takes away from personal contact as well. So we gain and we lose with this. So we'll talk a little bit about that. More on the McDonaldization of society. When we increase efficiency, which again can be good, we also lose things. In our never-ending quest to do things better, to do them more quickly, to be more efficient, we lose. We experience diminished physical and mental health because we're working at things longer and harder. We're worried about things being better and more efficient. It creates more stress. Stress is directly correlated, again, to the first couple things we talked about here, the physical and the mental problems. Less human contact. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to do that. We have poorer social skills now because people just aren't communicating. It's easier just to text someone. It's easier just to offer a few phrases. If you're working in the fast food industry, that's why he calls this the McDonaldization of society. Ritzer contends that employees of McDonald's are literally trained not to talk to people very long. They want to get people at the counter. They want to say as few things as possible, get their money, get them in, get them out. Because if you turn over quickly, in other words, the more people you get in and out of your restaurant, the more money. So it's about money. The more money that you're going to make. If you stand there chatting with people, if you're a worker, it's going to slow down the line. It's going to be less money, less people that are coming in and out, in and out of the restaurant. So, and it does. It creates social skills deficits, and also it creates a lower skill level for workers because machines and computers are doing everything. All I got to do is hit a button with a picture on it. Instead of understanding math, instead of understanding how to do things at a deeper level, we now have icons and buttons that we hit, and it really just takes the skill level away. It just diminishes any kind of thought process that a lot of workers would need to put in to their job. So some argue that this could be bad as well. Ritzer talks about this, and I don't have a slide for this, but I'll discuss it. Talks about sort of the evolution of food and how people actually eat food, how they purchase it, how they eat it, etc. Started off before restaurants, you would literally either have to grow it yourself or you would have to purchase it from a farmer. You would have to clean it. You would have to cook it. You would eat it. You would have to clean up afterwards. I mean, there was a process involved. It could take you 2 or 3 hours from the time you started preparing to the time you finished cleaning. So you got 3 hours there. Then we get into this idea, this thing called the diner, where you can actually, a sit-down restaurant rather, where you can actually go into a place. You get in your car, you get out, you sit in the restaurant, they bring your food. You don't have to prepare it, you don't have to clean it, but it's still, you have some time involved. You may be an hour on average by the time you get in your car, eat it, and get home, but that's still quicker than 3 hours if you're doing it all yourself. Then we get this idea of the diner where you can actually go in and they'll do it a little quicker for you. So you might be out in 45 minutes or maybe a half hour. Well, that's not quite good enough. So now we have fast food where you can actually go in and order it, eat it there, and you can even be out in 10 or 15 minutes. That's even better. That's not quite good enough. So now we've got this thing called a drive-through where you don't have to get out of your car. It's more efficient. So now I can get in my car, I can order it at the drive-through window. I can stay on my phone the whole time if I want to and get other stuff done. I don't even have to get out of my car, and I can be in and out in sometimes 5 or 10 minutes of that restaurant area. Even the sit-down restaurants have this thing called call ahead service or curbside service, where you can call it in, you can work in your car, you pull up, they bring it to you. You don't have to get out. You can do it. I think Applebee's and Fridays have these kinds of services. They'll bring it to your car. So we're always wanting to get more efficient, more quicker, and that's fine, but we lose things. We're not sitting down with one another. We're not communicating with people, which can create the social skills kind of problems that we've been talking about. 4 trends since the Industrial Revolution of the 1880s have helped to shape the world, the work world that we know today. First, the shift from agricultural to an industrial and information society. We've talked about that. We moved from people working on farms to people now working in factories, and now really people working in business and industry on computers. The decline of self-employment of workers. Also, the increasing bureaucratization of work. We continue to increase our division of labor and become more highly specialized, which creates more layers of bureaucracy. And also, like we just talked about, the increase of contingency work, which again is not really always a good thing for the reasons that we've already talked about. Our American economy is less a product of manufacturing and goods production and more a product of the tertiary sector. So we've talked about that. Goods production hourly wages versus service jobs hourly wages. And I thought I had a chart on there, but I really don't. But I can kind of give you some stuff here real quickly. The goods production hourly wages, natural resource and mining, for example, construction, manufacturing, those jobs today pay, on average, anywhere between $18, almost $19 an hour down to about $15 an hour. That's not bad. Problem is, those jobs are disappearing and have been for a long time, so those jobs are harder to come by because of the way our economy is structured. Technology has eliminated the need for a lot of those positions. Now, service jobs, there are more of these, and their hourly wages go way, way down. Give you some examples. In retail, which is a service industry job, the average hourly wage is a little bit below $12 an hour. Education and healthcare. A lot of you folks that I'm talking to now are heading for education and healthcare in one way or another. On average, about $15.30 an hour for those jobs. Leisure and hospitality types of jobs in the service industry or the tertiary industry, around $9 an hour on average. So again, those jobs are more plentiful, but they pay a lot less, and they tend to not be full-time. Some final thoughts on tertiary sector jobs or service industry jobs. Manufacturing jobs pay less than service jobs, but there are many more service jobs now available. While it is true that we are replacing these lost jobs from the primary and secondary sectors, they are being replaced with the lower paying service jobs. Actually, I think I made a mistake. I think up here, I did make a mistake. I'm going to amend that as we speak here. The manufacturing jobs actually pay more. Sorry about that, guys. So let's get that back up here. So sorry about the typo there. So again, what we're saying here is we're kind of finishing this off. Is that the tertiary industry jobs or the service sector jobs, they're replacing, the primary and the secondary sector jobs. So, and let's go ahead and call that the end of. Oh, there we go. One more. Sorry, almost the end. Some final thoughts on tertiary sector jobs. Many jobs in this sector pay minimum wage or very low wages, often insufficient for a full-time worker to rise above poverty. So you essentially have some people, especially if they have kids, making minimum wage. They may be working full-time, but still they can't. They're still struggling at or below the poverty level. And this is a social condition that sociologists call underemployment. That's an important term to kind of have in your notes as well. That is truly the end of part 3 for the economy. Thank you.